Hey everybody, we're back with another episode of the Redscroll podcast. I'm Rick.
I'm Josh.
And we're here with Dan.
Hello.
And we're going to talk to him a bit later.
Not that much later.
I mean, we're going to talk about music that we're listening to, you and I, and then we'll ask Dan, and then we'll talk about his band.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
So I'm listening to Cosi Fanny Tootie Tootie on the Conspiracy International. It's her new one. You might know her from such acts as... I'm trying to think of other things besides Throbbing Gristle, but you know her from Throbbing Gristle. And, of course, Chris and Cosi and other things that were spawned out of Throbbing Gristle. Electroid's Electro World just got a reissue on Clone Classic Cuts, and that's a Drexcia project.
That's also on my list.
That's really good.
That's good.
Not Waving Futuro on Ecstatic. That's a new one from him, and I like that a lot. It's less dancey than past stuff and more ambient, wild, experimental. Another reissue thing that I'm listening to is the Molly Nilsson History, which is getting a repress currently by Night School, which has put out a lot of her stuff recently. Synth pop goodness. How about you? That's my whole list.
That's your whole list?
That's it.
I don't think we said it on the mics. Rick is very sick. He's getting over a bout of pneumonia, so he is reluctant to say anything.
I'm very antibiotic right now.
Tricked out.
Yep.
Silk Road Assassins, State of Ruin on Planet Mu. The new Spelling, Maisie Fly on Sacred Bones. Sun Watchers, Illegal Moves on Trouble in Mind. Homebody Spiritus on Feeding Tube, which doesn't come out for another 2 months, but they sent us a promo tape and it's been like played like all week over and over here in the store. Profanatica, Altar of the Virgin Horror on Hell's Headbangers, which came out in November, but we didn't get it until like, I don't know, a month ago or so. New Boy Harsher, Careful on Nude Club. The Electroids, which Rick already mentioned, and then I just bought another grip of folkways, ethnic folkways comps, and the Folk Songs of Kashmir is heavy rotation. How about you?
Nice. Both the Spelling record and the New Boy Harsher record for me as well, for sure. I think I've listened to the New Boy Harsher more than anything else in like the past month or so.
The show in New Haven
Yeah.
was very, very good.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Did you
awesome.
catch? You didn't? Did you catch any other nights of that?
Yeah, I went to the New York one the following night. It was tight.
How was that? That was good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But I've been doing that, and the new Diot record, which came out on Friday on Iron Lung. That one's really cool.
We don't have that in.
No, get Iron Lung stuff late.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, winter's my black metal time, so I just do that.
Sure.
But it's been weird being in New York because it hasn't been snowy at all, so I feel weird.
Yeah,
Like I can't.
Hasn't really been snowy here either.
Yeah.
We just get like freezing rain a couple of times, but real mild winter.
Yeah, it was nice driving up here though, because it was like all the hills and it was like foggy because it had been raining on top of the snow, and I was like, okay, this is the environment for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't been in the right mindset to be listening to too much of that this winter.
Bummer.
Yeah.
It's a bummer you weren't bummed out.
Yeah.
Listen to the biggest bum out music.
Yeah.
What, do you think that's the biggest bum out music?
No, I don't.
What's the biggest bum out music?
I don't know, man. Actually, what is that? Neofolk is pretty bum out.
You think that's
Like,
the...
I don't know.
I don't think so.
That like Spanish guitar black metal like crying stuff. That stuff's probably right up there.
Yeah, I'm at a total loss for what would be
Yeah.
the most bum out music.
If I'm in like the darkest of darkest bum out moods, I'll just listen to like Zaster or something, and that's like about as deep as I want to dive into that.
Cool. Listener, what's your biggest bum out music?
Call in.
Call in.
Oh, in.
In the future.
The hotline is
203-265-7013. Just leave a message anytime after 8.
yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. You okay?
Let's go.
Rick's got his head in
I
his
got my
hand.
eyes closed. Let's go. I'm doing it. You can't tell.
No, they can't.
So Dan's here. Does a band called Reduction Plan. That's why we have him on in particular. Tell us about what's going on with your band right now.
Right now, been kind of starting in on the mixing process for a new record, which has been cool. It's been kind of a long time coming. Was like a little bit drawn out from moving to New York, kind of in between the recording process. So I had like all the instruments and everything done, and then I moved to New York, and I was like, oh, it's hard to record here.
Yeah. What town are you originally from?
Bethel, Connecticut.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is where I was earlier today. But yeah, so that's mainly what's been going on there. Not a whole lot otherwise. Just been trying to play shows here and there. Trying to play as many in between Connecticut and New York as possible, which is an interesting
Do you find
dichotomy.
that? I was going to say, how do you find that sort of breaking into a new separate scene? Like with less, because like you have less connections then, right?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, no, that's exactly it. It's definitely harder. It's harder to like kind of get in front of the right, not the right people, but just like there's a lot more
Crowd that would appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's definitely there, and there are definitely a lot more bands doing stuff that we're doing down in New York. So yeah, it's just a question of kind of like breaking into that and like kind of. It's cool that it's there. Like I love having access to that to like go to those shows and like be a part of that. But like from a booking shows standpoint, it's definitely been a lot of a different experience than booking shows in Connecticut. But yeah.
So now I'm not sure of the exact dynamics of your band. So there's somebody else in the band who is a permanent member.
Yeah. So
and then there's a third floating member.
kind of, yeah.
Okay.
So Louis, my bandmate, is pretty much like the other permanent member, and then our friend Shane plays bass almost always when he can. But in terms of like the kind of writing and recording process, I do that all myself, or have done that all myself in the past. Louis plays guitar a little bit on the new record, which was cool.
Does he also live in New York now, or no?
No, he lives in Connecticut, down in Darien.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So not super far.
Yeah, no, which is good because like if we're playing a show in New Haven and I just drive up,
Scoop him on the way.
yeah, exactly, and it's like easy for him to get down to New York when we play shows down there, which is cool. It's definitely a convenient dynamic to have. But yeah, Louis been like the band spiritual advisor for a while. I just like run all of my terrible ideas by him, and he's like, maybe don't do that. And I'm like, okay, fine, yeah, you're probably right. Or he'll have like other ideas that I just don't ever think of, and we'll be like, oh, well, why don't we do this instead? And I'm like, why not? Let's do that. So that's been nice to have, because for the first like few years of the project, it was just like me, like sitting in my bedroom thinking everything over myself.
Yeah.
So it's been nice to have kind of somebody else involved in that front to like bounce ideas off of, for sure.
Now, there was a tape release of the last recording. I've only ever heard that digitally. I played the shit out of it digitally, but I didn't know there was a cassette until I looked at your Bandcamp. I don't normally go there. But did you only make like a handful of those? Or?
Yeah, so we mostly made those cassettes for a tour that we were doing. And then
a tour deal.
Yeah, and then kind of had just, because we didn't want to, go on tour without something. We'd put it out in June, and then we did a tour in July.
It helps to have that thing to like be memorable to people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like the first ever tour that we did was like the spring of 2016, I want to say. And it was a weird time to do the tour, because the second record wasn't done, or it was done, but I didn't have tapes, and so I like burned some like CDs just to like have like something. But it just like lined up weird, because I was in school and on spring break, and I was like, well, I have a week, so let's just play some shows. But yeah, so the newest one we made tapes of, mostly just for the tour, and then kind of have been sitting on those afterwards, and have them up on the Bandcamp and all that.
I saw you tweet recently that you didn't send one out for over a year.
Yeah, that's I forgot for a really long time.
Okay. Not to blow up your spot. I mean,
no. Well, also what had happened was I moved to New York, and all of the leftover merch was still in Connecticut in a giant bin, and I was like, taking a train back and forth, I don't want to like carry this giant bin, and so it just kept dragging on, and then so I sent that out like last week, and I think they ordered it in like June of 2017 or something like that. No, maybe 2018.
I hope they appreciate it.
A little more. Yeah.
As someone who has ordered things online and never gotten them, like to have something show up that much later would be like, oh, this is fun.
Right. See, exactly. They've definitely forgotten about it. So it's definitely going to be a nice
if
little
you haven't gotten hate mail by now for the $6 or whatever, then you're golden.
Yeah, no, I've definitely tried to be a little more proactive with my mail order recently because of that. And also, like, I think I got like a bunch after the fact, like the record started getting a little more attention and people bought more cassettes, and so I like mailed those ones out first, and I was like going down the list, and I was just like, oh fuck, this one's been here for a really long time. Yeah. Sorry if this person is listening.
I didn't know if it was like a cult aesthetic move. Like, I'll just trickle them out.
No, that's definitely, that's exactly what it was. Definitely, yeah, we'll say that.
So what made you move to New York?
Mostly work.
Okay.
So I work for a company called Terrorbird, doing like college radio promotion for the most part. And so I got into that after like I graduated from school. I interned there, and then I've been working there for a little over 2 years now. And I was commuting from Bethel every day, which was a lot. Listened to a lot of podcasts and a lot of records. And it was good for the time that I was doing it as well, because I was mixing the last record myself, so that was like nice to be able to do that on the train and kind of have that time.
You were mixing on the train?
Yeah.
Wow.
With like, I had like headphones and bouncing back and forth between that, and then I had like a little desk set up at home with monitors, because I don't know, I like to kind of listen to it in different environments, to be like, well, it sounds good on this, it sounds good on these headphones with all of this background noise.
If it sounds good on Metro North, it stands up.
But and then so I moved to New York in July. I just, I was fine doing the commute, and I liked being in Connecticut still. But it was definitely getting to a point where I was like really getting burnt out, and a few of my friends were moving down as well, and so I was just like, let's go for it. So it's been cool. Been there like 8 or so months now. And I have a 20-minute commute to work now, which is much better than like 2+ hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2+ hours there and 2+ home.
Yeah. And it's cool because it's, the Metro North is there. I'm not like completely cut off from Connecticut.
Sure.
I come back a lot, which has been cool. It's definitely like the preferred way.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like completely separated from it because otherwise I couldn't do half the stuff that I would want to be doing.
So not to get too into work, but do you what type of acts are you like working with? Or
Yeah, so
is it labels bringing it to you? Or?
It's a bit of both. So we work with a lot of labels. We have like certain like retainers with labels. Like we do all of like the Omnium Group stuff, so like capture tracks and all that. And then like Car Park Records, we do all of their stuff, and then. Yeah, there's a few others. We do some stuff with like Deus and other projects in that kind of, musical world. And it's cool because I get to kind of work with people that I want to. Like I have the freedom to kind of reach out to people and be like, hey, do you want to like send your record to a bunch of college radio kids? And most of the time they're into it. So that's definitely like a really fun thing. So it's kind of like on a case-by-case basis, and everybody that I work with kind of brings on their own projects as well. So we get to have a nice like diversity in what we do.
Have you tried that? Have you tried that avenue for your own project? Or no?
We did for the last record, which was fun but really weird for me. I was just like, because a big portion of the job is like talking to college music directors on the phone.
And pretending you're not you.
Yeah, or just being like, hey, so did you listen to this record? And then wait for what they say, and then like, okay, yeah, by the way, that's me. And then it was weird. But it was fun. It was,
okay.
It was cool. and that's, college radio played like a big part in like the kind of early stages of the project. Like I booked the first tour off of people that I knew from doing college radio at WHUS at UConn, and it's still a very essential part to like what the project is and how it kind of operates, and the people I know who like are into it and stuff like that. It's a cool like way to build a little network outside of just like
internet.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But yeah.
Cool. You still dying over there?
A little bit dead. Do you have any fun stories of working a band you didn't care for?
I can't.
You don't have to be specific, but I'm sure you work with lots you don't care for.
Yeah.
In general, but like, is there anything in particular where like you just cringed every time you had to ask someone about something? You can be as broad as you want.
Definitely sometimes. But it's like with the way that we do things, it's like there's an audience for it regardless, So it's kind of our job to find those people who are into it, even if it's not like my own personal thing. Like that's the good thing about like all of the people that I work with bringing on their own projects as well, is because we definitely have some overlap in taste, but it's all, curated specifically to their own tastes, which is cool. It gives kind of like a broad spectrum of stuff. Like I work weird, dark things and industrial stuff and weird, I don't know. Like we're doing the new Shoo Shoo record this week, which is another one that I meant to say that I've been listening to because that thing is wild. But that's been like a fun one because it's like so strange and so weird, but like
I was at that bar show. What was that like? That was like 2 years ago now, right?
Yeah, we played that one, which was really great.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah. Yeah,
circling back.
Yeah, no, that was a really fun show, and that was nice because I had just started at Terrorbird at that point, but Jamie from Shoo Shoo had like known everybody else there for a while, so it was nice to like connect with him on that front. And it was cool. I liked that last record that they did a lot. Forget, I think. Yeah, I saw him do some like improv performance at the Guggenheim, like I want to say like over the summer or something, and it was wild. And I think a lot of that is like involved in the new record he did. It was called Deforms the Unborn, and he basically like recited recordings of demonic possession over like his backing band doing like weird improv noise stuff. And a lot of the lyrics were like really vulgar, obviously, because it's demonic possession. But I've noticed in listening to the new record that there's definitely some kind of overlap there, which was really cool. But yeah, that was like, I think I had been in New York for like a few months, and that was one of the things where I was like, oh, this is cool. Okay, I could like never see something like that.
Solidifies like the move was the right choice.
Yeah, I was like, this is something that I would never have a chance to like experience living in Bethel. You know,
more demonic possession in Bethel, I'm sure, without a backing band.
Yeah, maybe there's some actual demons in Bethel. I don't know.
I saw you trying to say something, and then you stopped. Cool. Just cut me off at any time when the spirit moves you. Spirits.
Possession.
There you go.
Sometimes in this building, I'll be here early in the morning, like 4 or 5 in the morning, and no one else will be in the whole building, and I'll hear something running upstairs, like footsteps running upstairs.
Cool.
Yeah, that's the most haunting this building gets, but I don't get like a weird vibe or anything. So I'm just like doing, calisthenics.
The ghost has to stay fit. No, we used to I lived in a house up at Yukon that was like this really old house, and I always used to think that it was like haunted or something because it was just super old, and there were just like hundreds of mice living in the house instead. So I'd like hear noises in my wall, and I'd be like, oh, maybe it's a ghost, and then I would see like mice droppings, and I'd be like, oh,
that's way worse than demons. I would rather have demons any day than 100 mice living in my walls.
I mean, 100 is maybe an exaggeration, but it was
probably
definitely
not.
Yeah.
No, but where there's one, there's 100.
Yeah, well, the house was like connected to this really long old garage full of like vintage cars for some reason, and the like landlord rented that out separately.
Oh, they love to live in those things.
Yeah, and so as soon as it got cold, they came out of the garage into our very nice warm house. And we had a roommate who was not very good at cleaning his dishes, and he would make eggs in the morning and leave like a pan with like egg scraps on it on the stove. And I would like walk out the door and be like, oh, there's a dirty dish. And then I'd come back and be like, oh, there's a clean dish. Because they've just been like gnawing at it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've only had like one experience in my house where there was mice, and I killed 13 of them real fast. And then they were gone. So like I just had to kill the 13 and make sure those 13 didn't multiply. But a buddy of mine, he killed like a dozen, and then he called an exterminator because he was like getting sick of it. And then the exterminator killed like 17 or 18 more. So like they really travel in a pack, and they breed fast.
Yeah, we've been like lucky in our apartment in New York that we haven't had any problems with any of that stuff yet, which has been good because I've heard.
I fear bed bugs. That's my biggest fear in life.
That's it. That's like top tier.
Biggest. Luke, right?
Maybe.
Real.
Oh yeah.
He had him. Shout out to Luke. and I remember after he had gotten him, and then he got him again, and then he told me a story about how sometimes he wakes up in the middle of the night and just grabs a lamp off his nightstand and just starts beating the mattress.
God.
It's like, yeah, man.
Wasn't that there was like a big resurgence of bed bugs like a few years ago or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like probably 6 or 7 years ago, maybe longer than that, there was some like famous opera singer who was staying in New York at like a very fancy hotel.
Like the Waldorf had him.
Yeah. She got covered in them one night, and they canceled like her whole like performance.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. That's the one funny thing that like I like seeing like really fancy places in New York, and then just knowing in the back of my mind, it's like, yeah, but you're still in New York.
Yeah.
So like the like filth and the just like grime is just gonna find a way to penetrate no matter like what sort of like fancy front you're putting on.
Any city. I've never seen a rat in New York City, but I've seen them in New Haven carrying pizza.
I've seen small dog-sized rats in New York
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely there.
Well, Rick also does the all night or the all night rave circuit where you got to wait for the morning train. So that's when the dog-sized rats come out.
It's been a while, but yeah, I guess.
Where in New York were those happening?
I don't know. I've had multiple sightings of those things, man. Those things are not.
I think he was more asking about the raves.
Yeah. Also the dog rats. Just so I know where to
they
avoid.
both migrate.
One
I will
follows the
say
other.
the biggest ones I've probably seen in like Lower Manhattan.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where were the biggest raves?
Outside of the city, because
Yeah.
bigger
You
spots.
need a warehouse.
Yeah, no, there's a few of those like bigger areas over in like Queens near where I live. But there's a few like places that I always see popping up as like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on currently.
Yeah.
It's been a few years.
Out of touch with the current raven rat dog community.
It's pretty easy these days, like for raves. I mean, not raves. I wouldn't even call them that. They're just parties now, I guess.
Yeah.
And clubs or whatever. But like, everything's pretty accessible these days.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening illegally though these days. Who knows?
Somebody put Rick in touch.
Yeah, I guess if you want. Same hotline
Yeah.
number as before.
Also after 8 o'clock.
Also after 8 o'clock.
Yeah, so you got this new record you're working on. How long?
Yeah.
You said 8 months you've been working on it?
So it took me about 6 months to do vocals.
Wow.
Well, that was just because I was living in New York
Yeah,
and there was like so much like background noise or other things, and I would have to like when I was at home in Connecticut, I could just like set aside my entire weekend and just like huddle up in my room and just work on stuff. But with all the kind of different stuff, especially when I first moved down there, it was just running around a lot. So I had to like specifically set aside like, okay, I'm gonna do vocals like Wednesday night and I'm gonna finish them, and that's gonna be it. And then like Wednesday night would roll around and there'd be like a construction crew outside my window. I'd be like,
And your music has like, especially vocally, it has like a moody emptiness.
Yeah.
So like construction crew would not play into that really well.
Although there is one, we have a dog that lives next door.
Sure, it's not a rat.
Yeah, it's definitely like the dog rats and this dog. There's definitely some size overlap. It's a very tiny dog.
Okay.
But I was recording vocals one night and it barked like right before I started, and I just kept it in because I was running everything through like a delay and a reverb anyway, and it just had this weird like ghostly sound, and I was like, you know what, that's kind of cool.
I can't wait to look for that.
Yeah. But yeah, and then so prior to that, I had like recorded all the instruments at home in Bethel, and then I had that mostly done, and then this guy Kevin McMahon like found us on. I forget how he either found us on the internet or like some other band that he had been working with like knew us and sent him our stuff. So he reached out to me like pretty much right around before I was going to start in on vocals, and I was like, oh, this is like really weird convenient timing. And then so we basically took everything that I had recorded at home, and he runs a studio up in Poughkeepsie-ish area, maybe New Paltz.
Okay.
Called Marcata, which used to be down in Harlem. And then they moved upstate. But so basically we took everything that I had recorded and just like ran it through all of his like studio gear and basically like reprinted a version of the record that I already had, which was a lot of fun. He got some like really crazy sounds, especially he did a really good job at making, because all of the drums on the record are still a drum machine, and he did a very good job at making it very organic feeling, which is probably like listening back to like even just the rough mixes, like the drums are, I'm always like, oh man, this is fucking sick. This sounds so cool. So yeah, we had been working on that, and then he was basically waiting for me to finish up vocals, and then so I sent them to him like back in December, and then so we're, yeah, hopefully something soon.
How much do you think you have left?
I I don't know. It's hard to say. He's like, I think starting in like firmly on mixing in March, and it's kind of my first time working with somebody in that capacity, so I don't really have a gauge on like.
So up until now, you've done all recording at home?
Yeah. Did everything myself except for mastering on the last record, because I have no idea what to do any mastering anything. So I had my friend Jeremy master the last record for me. But yeah, so everything up until this point has been recorded at home, which has been cool. It's been a nice sort of change up, and it's been cool to get somebody else's ears on the project in that way.
No, so do you have like the capacity to be like to do any sort of touring on these sort of things? Like obviously you probably have a more flexible schedule than others, and you have a flexible band dynamic.
There's definitely plans to tour. It kind of depends on the timeline of like the record when things get finished up. We've been talking to this band Amber Smoke from California, who are really cool. They do like kind of like dark, heavy psych with like some kind of shoegazy and a little bit of Britpop kind of sounds in there.
Okay.
They're really cool. And so they had been on my radar a while ago, and then they like mentioned something about how they were going to do a tour, and I just reached out to them to see if they wanted to book a show in like New York or Connecticut or something. And they were like, well, we're not coming that way yet, but in the summer we're going to probably do like a full East Coast, and if you want to do any or all of those dates with us. And I was like, yeah, sure. So that's like still, in the works, but that's the only thing like firmly on the calendar tour wise now. But yeah, we'll definitely do something once the record's out. I had this like really terrible idea that we should try to make it to the West Coast, but I don't know if that's ever going to actually happen.
It's hard because you got to get through the middle of the country, and that's rough.
But yeah, it is cool. Like, not having a drummer makes it really easy to tour.
Absolutely.
Like every tour we've done prior, I've taken my Jeep and just like we put everything in the back of it, and it just makes things so much easier. The trade-off of that is that when you're touring, you never really know the sound setup of the place that you're showing up at. So sometimes, like we played one show in Columbus, and I just like couldn't hear the drums at all. It was just in a basement, which is fine. It's, that's always been something that I've been conscious of with Reduction Plan, is like most of the time I can't hear the drums.
Yeah.
Luckily the past like year or so, everything's been good, but yeah.
Cool. So you've obviously like you've played a bunch in Connecticut and New York. Mm-hmm. Where do you like to play? Like what's a venue that you like feel fits you?
Yeah. In Connecticut or in New York?
Let's go Connecticut. And then we'll do New York.
I really love Never Get to Be Cool. That space is really great, and I've known the Katz Brothers for a while. And
shout out to Katz Brothers.
Yeah, shout out to the Katz Brothers.
Dan and Joe.
And yeah, that's a really cool space, and they're really cool people. So I like playing there a lot. We end up playing Cafe 9 a lot on some of the Manic gigs, which is cool. Manic has been very kind to us, throwing us on a bunch of stuff. But Cafe 9 is not entirely my favorite place to play.
Sure.
And then...
For all the reasons everyone would expect.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's cramped, awkward stage.
Yeah.
People talk because it's a bar, and the bar is the focal point of the room. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, it's it's a cool space. I used to like playing in actual, like in bar a lot when they did the shows there. That was such a really cool room. I like that a lot. Yeah, I don't know. In New York, we played this place called Alphaville probably more than any other place, because I have a friend who kind of books stuff there and runs sound, and yeah, so that's a cool place, and the sound there is always great, which I like a lot. But we played the Bowery Electric earlier this week, and I just don't like playing shows in Manhattan at all. They always,
Who was that with?
It was with our friends Should've, who are another Brooklyn band, and this project Constant Smiles, which was really cool. It was a cool lineup, but like just
Logistically,
yeah, logistically, like the way that Manhattan shows are run, it's always just like a weird deal. They always almost, I've never seen them not. They always like tally who you're there to see at the door and like that whole deal. And it just really seems counterintuitive to any sort of like music community building. You know, it's just like, and I don't know, the venues are just weird. But Brooklyn is cool for the most part for playing shows.
Yeah, the tallying thing has never worked. I don't know.
yeah. Some people just hold on to that
Yeah.
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
Yeah,
Trying
it
to
seems like a very antiquated.
What was the club in Connecticut that was doing that for a while?
I mean, Toads does it with their different ticket
yeah,
colors.
but I don't count that. like
Webster.
Oh yeah,
has done it.
Webster definitely seems
Webster
like a
does it
place-
with the different tickets for different bands. Yeah.
And then they'll sometimes ask. It's been a while since I've even been there, but I've been there when I've paid at the door, and they've asked what band I'm there for. I don't know. I'm sure there's others.
Yeah, I stopped
The
going.
G used to do it.
Stopped going to the Webster when I was like 17,
Yeah.
and then I didn't go again until like 3 or 4 years ago when Judge played, and I'll probably never go again.
Yeah. I don't know. A lot of places used to do it, but
Yeah.
it like you said, it's kind of antiquated.
Yeah.
Some places are still holding on to it.
Yeah, I don't know, and just like that kind of like Lower East Side Manhattan is definitely like holding on to its like glory days of like the early 2000s of like this is important. This was the center of like New York music, and it's just like
Manhattan's barely, especially that part of Manhattan, is barely what it was.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
St. Mark's Place, I used to be there all the time, and it's a mall now.
Yeah.
Like Coney Island High, like whatever else is around there, CBGB, of course, and
Yeah.
all that stuff's gone. It's a ghost town of culture, anyway.
Yeah.
Ghosts of culture eating at the mall.
Connecticut's better than Manhattan. I like
Sure.
I would definitely say that.
I mean, we have malls too.
We got malls. We got museums.
We got museums.
CT has it.
I remember I saw Deer Hunter the last time that they played New Haven, not because they just played last night, I think, right?
Yeah, they played last night.
And Bradford Cox was like, "Yeah, the only good thing I've noticed about Connecticut is, or about New Haven, is you guys have a really nice museum." He's like, or the Yale like art gallery.
Yeah.
It's like you guys have a really nice art gallery. Everyone was like, "Fuck you."
I mean, it's nice.
It is nice.
Can't deny it's nice.
No,
I wouldn't say it's the only thing.
Yeah.
And I understand the fuck you part. But
it's always weird when performers like want to talk about the area they're playing.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
it's even worse when it's disparaging.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
like what? Who are you trying to win over with that?
Yeah, you're
Like-
just gonna make everybody.
I thought this
hear-
place was terrible, but you have this one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like I've noticed that with a few like bigger like touring acts that I'll see. They'll be like, "Yeah, Connecticut. Turns out it's pretty cool." And it's just like, why is that the attitude you have to have?
I mean, Connecticut's eternally shit on.
Yeah.
It's just a fact.
Yeah. I don't know, but like if you're playing to people in that area,
Yeah.
Right.
why would you ever try to be disparaging to where they're
No,
from and
yeah,
have to
no.
go home to?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I don't know. Bradford Cox has a reputation of saying disparaging things, though. So
All right.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I don't want to
the
cut you
spirit,
off.
the spirit moved him.
The spirit moved him.
Maybe a little too much.
Just talk about more disparaging in general. No, so I know you like The Cure. You did that set as The Cure. It never
Yeah.
get to be cool.
Cool?
Yeah,
Cool.
whatever. It's my spin on it. What else did you grow up listening to in Bethel?
Oh man, I was super like early on very into Metallica in like the end of middle school and my like freshman year of high school, and like metal at kind of as a broad thing. But my first ever band was a Metallica cover band.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was sick. So that was freshman year of high school.
What songs did you do?
Mostly stuff from like Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning and Master Puppets. I wanted to do all the Master Puppet stuff because I started playing bass before I played guitar. So all of the bass on like Master Puppets, I was just like, oh my god, this is so sick. But yeah, so, and then I don't know, like through high school I got into like punk and stuff like that. I was super into Against Me for a while. That was like a really big band like early on in high school for me.
The band was insanely popular around here.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, and then towards like I want to say like my sophomore and junior year, I started getting, like my friends were showing me like Hostage Calm and My Heart's Joy and Tiger's Jaw and like stuff like that was happening. And then I got kind of more clued into more stuff that was happening on kind of like a local level, which was really cool because I had no idea that there was music in Connecticut, like my like early part of high school. So that was a big thing for me. But yeah, and then like The Cure and the Smiths and Joy Division and all that stuff like early on, that was big. I actually was listening to, because I like Unknown Pleasures is like one of those records where it's like kind of a joke to listen to it at this point. It's everybody's like, it's such like a
the album of the t-shirt.
And everybody who makes like dark music, it's like, okay, yeah, you love Joy Division. But I've actually been listening to that record like a lot recently, just because I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like I get it, I understand, yeah, it's Joy Division, okay. And then like I'm gonna look for other stuff, but I've been revisiting it a lot recently, and it's really great.
It is really good.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like,
is the t-shirt thing still like a thing? Is that over? Do people still buy that everywhere?
The t-shirt, yeah.
Really?
I saw a Joy Division duvet on Twitter today.
Okay, but that's got to be like an Etsy special. Like that's not something you're walking into Urban Outfitters for right now, right?
I don't know. Maybe it's on its way out. I don't know. Cycle that back in another 10 years.
Yeah.
It's definitely not out for good.
No, that's not what I mean.
Yeah. Just it being like morphed into everything.
Morphed into everything.
I don't know.
It's got to be done.
I'm not sure that's true.
I want it to be done. I'm manifesting it.
I understand.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So what made you start the project in the first place?
I learned that I was really bad at being in bands. No, I just like, because I was in a band called Cop, and we played like just like weird aggressive punk stuff, and I like, that was stuff that I was into, like super into like Ceremony and Piss Jeans and stuff like that. And then I wanted to kind of do something that was, I don't know, drawn from a lot of the other music that I was listening to. And so I just like, I had a bunch of stuff, kind of some ideas just together. And then the first summer that I was living in my house at UConn, I just like kind of spent most of it working at the radio station, and then just like kind of trying to refine some of those ideas into something that was at least somewhat cohesive. Because I think like when I first was doing it, there was a lot of different stuff that I was trying to have like little parts of be in there. So just, kind of tried to experiment a bit and refine like what I really wanted the project to be. And I think it's gotten like more and more like focused over time. The first record that I did is not very all over the place, but it is definitely a little bit all over the place, like sounds wise. But yeah, so I just wanted like a kind of outlet to make music in the vein of other stuff that I was like super into and super like influenced by outside of like a band context. Like getting to do like sort of like ambient, more experimental stuff was not something that I was ever able to do within the context of a band. So getting to do that on my own and kind of experiment with that and see like if it was something that I could actually do was kind of fun and exciting, and messing around with that sort of stuff. Yeah. And then, yeah, over time it kind of became a little more focused and a little more...
It's a very definitive sound at this point.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Thank you. Which has, yeah, definitely been a goal for sure, since like kind of the outset is kind of narrowing in on something. But yeah.
We got to listen to the rough tracks from the new album.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Thanks. Yeah, because this, I like wanted to make something that was a little more aggressive, or like just a little more like blown out and distorted and kind of a little bit heavier. Because that's kind of a lot of what I had been listening to at the time of recording it. But yeah, so it's cool. I'm excited to have it be done, hopefully, soon.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
A few months. Our dynamic is usually that we'll look at each other and we'll know who is going to talk next. But I could just assume he has no inkling to talk.
Have you ever been to space? Because I'm there right now.
How much NyQuil did you take?
I actually didn't take any today.
No?
I took.
Looking forward to that
some
NyQuil in like
earlier.
45 minutes.
Yeah, I'm taking NyQuil when I get home. That's real.
I dropped a bottle of NyQuil off at his house about a week ago. I'm assuming that's gone.
That
right?
one was gone in a couple days. Yeah. If you take that every 4 hours, it doesn't last that long.
No. Shot.
So you taking NyQuil every 4 hours?
You could take it every 4 hours.
That's on the bottle.
But doesn't it like? Isn't the point that it like knocks you out?
Oh,
are you riding through?
But if you're sick, you're waking up as soon as that wears off.
Yeah.
Fair,
you wake up every 4 hours, you take another shot, you go back to sleep. It's the only way to get better.
I seriously got up groggy at 2 a.m. and it's like, all right,
more NyQuil.
Gotta get back to sleep, and I'm not getting back to sleep without this stuff.
Shout out to NyQuil, because I love it.
I had like a really fucked sleep schedule in college, as most college students do. I used to take Z-Quil.
Okay.
I ended up just taking NyQuil instead, even when I wasn't sick.
Yeah.
I was just like,
that happens.
Didn't do anything.
When I was a kid, my parents would give us each a shot of Benadryl on Christmas Eve. So that we would stop being excited and go to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Dosed.
Yeah.
Shout out to Penny and John. So, yeah, band is pretty much covered. Anything you want to say? Anything you want to talk about? You tell me. Any bands out there in the world that we should be checking out?
Do you have shows coming up?
Yeah, tell me about shows.
And by the way, man, I mean, there's not much left of this month, but, you know, this is going to be going out on the 1st. So.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So anything happening after the 1st.
Of March?
Yeah.
Cool, yeah. So, do y'all know about Elizabeth Color Wheel? That band?
The Cafe 9 show you're playing?
Yeah. So we're playing with them at Cafe 9. They're a new band on the Flenser. Friends of ours from Boston. They have a new record coming out, I want to say in March or April. And it's fucking sick. It's so good. Just like this wild like cacophony of like doom metal and noise and shoegaze and black metal, and it's awesome. So I'm super excited for that show, to play with them, and super excited for their new record to be out, because that's really great. Otherwise, this band in New York, Lotion, I like them a lot, and they have a new record coming out soon.
the
El Periodo.
El Periodo.
Yeah. What is it? It's not a is it an anagram? No.
Acronym.
What is an anagram? Is that when you rearrange the words?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Never mind. Bananagrams.
We got
Anagrams.
we carry the lotion record.
Nice. But yeah, so I think they have a new one coming out towards the end of April. And I had heard some rough mixes of that, and it's really, really cool. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe. Check out Reduction Plan at Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Spotify, it's probably on, right?
Yeah, there's one record on Spotify.
Anything, anywhere else they should go?
He's got a highly active Twitter.
Reduction
yeah, follow me on Twitter. And I tweet a lot of shit that nobody cares about.
Sort of an inactive Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I get weird about my Instagram because my Instagram is like a lot of people from high school still, and I want to like post about band stuff, and I'm just like, well, is it a personal Instagram? Is it a band Instagram? You know,
yep,
that whole thing. What is my brand? I don't know.
You tell me. I got nothing. Ours is all over the place. We can't control it.
At Redscroll everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Cool.
Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
These walls slowly closing in. You ask my name, and I can't. Remember the last time I saw my face. I forget. Myself. Nothing